December 13th, 2025, Coalition of Little Rock Neighborhoods. Once again, we thank Kevin Howard and the Housing and Neighborhoods Department for the coffee that is supplied, both regular and decaf. Thank you, Kevin. We are live streaming this meeting, and the recording will be posted online. The link will be through our Facebook page at clrn.ar. So for absent friends, you can play catch up. We are going to be addressing two topics today. First, we will be talking about the plans for the Broadway Boulevard, the section between Roosevelt Road and 17th Street, which is now going to get changed for safety and bring back a little bit of greenery for a grace note. Our speaker is Ed Sargent, an architect, neighbor, and advocate for this whole project for many years, who is going to be speaking with us today. And our second program will be about plans for the October the 7th National Night Out events for crime-fighting celebrations in the neighborhoods. But right now, let's hear from Ed Sargent. What have you got for us, Ed?
Yes, well, thank you very much for inviting us. Actually, my wife Laura and I started this initiative about, I think in 2014, just because Broadway kept getting busier and busier, more accidents. In short, Broadway it kind of created a divide down through our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is the Governor's Mansion Historic District. It's pretty close to what defines it. This splits it. People are very, very close in our neighborhood, like to connect, particularly it's multimodal, like to walk and bike. This is creating a bigger and bigger problem. And also, another problem though too is actually, so a lot of structures and houses along the Broadway street also were kind of stabilized or kind of going downhill. They've been turned semi-commercial back when capital zoning was created, just to try and keep them in use. But we see a lot of things going on. One house recently had two fires in a very short period of time. It was vacant, nobody's been in it. So in order to help stabilize everything, this is what we started. It was kind of had to go through the process to get things in the works. Eventually, we identified very recently a grant from Metro Plan in order to help fund the planning, or 80% of the planning. Contractor representative is in it. Let them know about it. You may contact them with Metro Plan. Metro Plan granted the funding for that portion of it. 20% is the city of Little Rock. So what we got funding for right now is the planning to change Broadway from 4 lanes down to what's called a road diet, which is if you drive Main Street got a road diet a few years back. A road diet means it's like a diet, you reduce what you got. So it goes from 4 lanes, which is, if you're going any direction, you'll see one car, somebody will go any speed they want to in order to pass the traffic. When you've only got 1 through lane both directions, what happens is you can't go any faster than the car in front of you. So it's a very good tool to moderate traffic. Part of this too is we're actually making sure too that there's a median down the middle. It allows for a little turn if you got to convert into your neighborhood. The median though, it's a green medium for most of the blocks this is in. The green medium will allow for some tree planting and plants to kind of help support the neighborhood and all the structures along it too.
Also has crosswalks, so it kind of gives a respite, a safe place for someone to stop. If you're crossing the street and you see that you need to stop, you're not standing in the middle of the lane. You're actually in a safe green space on the sidewalk. So
There's kind of a safety pad halfway through.
Yeah.
So if they're barreling right down at you like they do, you can sort of hide behind something they don't want to run over.
Yes.
Don't care about you, but necessarily structure, curves and stuff.
Gives you something.
Got it.
Yeah.
The thing the city didn't require them to do at Pine and Cedar Street when the Med Center messed it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Could make a criticism there, but moving right along.
Okay. It's okay. Good point.
And to kind of piggyback on what you were talking about, Broadway, there are some young families that are moving into some of the houses, so
Because
is
all the parking is essentially across
Yes,
Broadway
Yeah.
from coming into the church.
yes, there's a little street parking on
But
the
it's,
side.
it's all
of the
tied up with
but-
specialty needs and
Right,
notices.
yes, yes.
Pastor Lindsay's very happy about this.
So he's very supportive as
But isn't it gonna ruin cruising on Friday and Saturday night?
well.
We sure hope so.
Just have to cruise slower.
Oh, I know. Actually, what's interesting too is 170 back, if I may say, I got the road up for Main Street back a few years back. But it's in the process, I studied what was out there. Actually, you find out traffic actually, a lot of times traffic actually increases a little bit because people they're now drawn to the driving experience. So this isn't something bad for people driving through the neighborhood. They actually kind of want to drive through and kind of experience it. So it's good kind of for really for everybody in all regards. The current plans are from 17th to Roosevelt, so half the length. We went through the planning process, meeting a couple of years ago with RDOT. It is a state highway, so their standards would apply. They felt like north of 17th, which is where the traffic light is familiar with it. North of 17th, the traffic count was too high in order to reduce the number of lanes. We reminded them that there are so many studies out there that say, no, you're well within the limits of all the other studies done. But they said, well, according to our requirements, this is what we're going to do. So we wish we could get it all the way north, but this is where we are right now. So let's get it 17th to Roosevelt, don't take long, and then kind of go from there.
So how many blocks? I don't know what Roosevelt would be, it was a number, and then 17 to.
17 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, 8 blocks.
8 blocks. Oh, okay.
And what is at 17? So I put it in perspective. What's on that corner?
The light
Which
at
one?
Wright Avenue.
There's an easy, there's a gas station.
Gas station.
Oh,
Gas station, a big historic house, another historic house. It used to be the Arkansas Press building, if you guys familiar with that little beautiful building, and then another house across from there, so.
It's part of the property now of the Trinity Episcopal Cathedral folks, 1 block to the east.
Yeah. On one corner too, there's a house that was hit twice within about 4 months. Back in December 23 and February 24. It was hit by vehicles, yeah, at that intersection. So anyway,
When you do your road guide, you are including a bicycle path and everything in that area. Is that part of
It's a
the-
state highway, so they don't get bike paths, right?
good point actually. Well, for the bike, actually, the bike master plan points to Arch Street and Spring instead of Broadway. So they say Arch and Spring are probably better, safer streets for that. For which that was a question we discussed it, but that does make sense because actually they're calmer streets and they still provide good north-south connectivity. So in that regard, again, bikes have a good pathway and this would be wrong. So
I'm passing around pictures that I took from the display at the meeting Thursday
Yeah.
night. One of them shows Paris Towers, which is going to be a challenge that I've already raised with Director Miller. He's at a meeting across the hall. I hope to get him in here shortly so we can press him again to get on his radar the need for city support for that, because that is public property. It's also high-rise for low-income families and individuals, which indicates their budget will not likely have a lot of spare change for contributing to the landscaping of the median.
yeah.
And so we need to start working right now, I think, on supporting the median future permanent funding. We know that the Quapaw Quarter has been very strong advocates for this, and they are a 501c3 nonprofit. And over many years of collaboration with other groups, they have supported various fundraisers where you want the tax deductible virtue on your donation to be handled through their account. So I'm going to be urging everyone to say, wouldn't it be great for you folks to help run a Broadway Boulevard landscaping
Great.
account
Yeah.
through your setup? And we need to be thinking about the folks, not only at Terrace Towers, who we can suppose are short of money, but possibly other property owners up and down the way. Did they confirm to you there was a property owners association expected to be formed
It's
to
not-
maintain the greenery permanently?
That's completely, let me see, that's not up to them, but they recommended that it be done. Because that's not within their scope, but they recommended, and they said, yes, that is done a lot of times. You'll see those a lot of places. They are providing, when they construct and build, they will provide sleeves for an irrigation system to the meters too, you know, with the POA, Property Owners Association. Ours can install a sprinkler system too. Otherwise, they can go.
I'm sorry, say the last again. Installing what?
Irrigation system. They're installing sleeves. Sleeves so somebody can install sleeves. So you install, you know, a void PVC pipe underneath the street from grass to
In other words, they're going to engineer water service.
yeah, they engineer it. They don't install the service itself, but they provide a pathway. So
That fits all of the Central Arkansas water specs, I'm sure.
I'm
I'm sure it has to.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be, you know, plumb for it, for a better word. Plumb for.
Good for it, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
so, and then it'll be up to the neighborhood, whoever, those, all of us, you know, that are interested in making it green and lovely, to find funding to do that. But I think it's
A Broadway Boulevard
simply.
support committee, I think, is of the future of a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have frontage on Broadway, but still.
And just a little reference, I know Kathy, you know, and y'all probably all know too, but historically there was a boulevard just down at the low, further down toward Roosevelt ends.
There's two articles in the Chronicle published by the Quapaw Critter that they found and they gifted me.
Yeah, we had that too.
And the charming thing about all of this, when you take long views in history, a century ago, in 1921, was when this green landscape boulevard went into place in the 2100 block. Privately funded by a wealthy homeowner. A lady had gone traveling, and she had been in other cities which had lovely landscape medians on their major thoroughfares and thought it was a really fine thing. And she comes back now living in a fairly new house, fronting on this 4 lanes of state highway. And she says, we should do something about that. And so she funded a place that was wide enough to plant banana trees and put in a big fountain. And this was in 1921 when you cranked your Model T by hand to start it. And over the decades, of course, they got bigger, they got faster. The highway standards for moving traffic changed, and we lost that. In fact, nobody's ever been able to trace what became of the fountain.
Oh, I know where the fountain is.
Where?
The fountain ended up at the Boyle House for a long time. And this is what I've been told. Now, you might want to fact check. And it's at Mount Holly. It's gifted to Mount Holly.
I checked on that when they told me that.
And they said no. They told me
No, it's on the,
somewhere.
it's nothing on the plaque. The plaque simply credits the Boyle House owner with buying this fountain and putting it in her yard. So it's conceivable that's where she bought it. It's simply not mentioned on the plaque.
That's the story I've been told, which is lovely, and that would be nice. That
It's a
still in the
gorgeous
neighborhood.
fountain.
It's beautiful.
Take a trip sometime to Mount Holly.
Yeah.
Just go straight to the back from the street. And they're right, it is a classic Victorian grand
Yeah.
fountain. That's the only word for it, I think. But the plaque doesn't reference any activity on the street, so we haven't nailed that one down.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's the story I've been told.
But now, a century later, it's too fast for safety, and we want our grace notes back, and we're getting officialdom to support us in bringing back a median, not quite as wide as it once was. I think we're going to have to be going for landscaping narrow trunk trees,
What now?
narrow trunked trees,
Oh.
not the voluminous banana tree
Yeah.
kind of model.
Yeah, probably not a banana tree.
No more banana
I don't
trees.
think we can do a banana tree.
So you guys are proposing, and, you know, to put it in perspective, we demonstrated on Markham Street, and then the city studied it, and Bruce Moore approved the road diet for Markham, and we are still waiting on the road diet for Markham, which has been approved by Bruce Moore.
Yeah.
So,
Well, their advocacy does count. These folks have persisted and never let up, and they garnered some support from the rest of the neighborhood, and that pays off. And my guess is that the Markham Street proposal has waned and waxed and waned and waxed on the locals saying,
They
what are you
told
going
us
to
it's
do with this
coming.
year's budget?
they've really told us it's coming.
Good, good.
But not what year it's
Yes,
coming.
sir.
So RDOT is going to narrow the road, but they're not going to landscape the median. Is that
No.
what you're saying? They're just going to build concrete, and then that's going to be a gulch in the middle of Broadway unless somebody fills it in with dirt.
I think they'll do dirt.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
do the dirt and grass, but I think that's,
To be
we
unsafe.
get to take it from there.
Yeah, it'd be unsafe if they didn't.
It will be
So,
green,
Yeah,
but not what we, right.
yeah, so.
But that's a good question. We'll need to make sure that that's
Mhm.
When they quit, what's left?
right.
Yeah.
And it needs to be good dirt, not fill dirt. It needs to be good dirt.
That we may need to intervene with.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to paint a picture of the possibility of this and what a POA can do. We're part of Tree Streets, the nonprofit. Actually, this last year, we planted one full city block on Battery. If you ever go to Battery, there's a wide median. It's so wide, there's actually room to put a row of trees down both sides.
And have plenty of grass in the middle.
Plenty in the middle. There will not be, they're not going to be that wide on Broadway by any means. But it just says, if a nonprofit would come in and plant both sides of one block, that's equal to 2 city blocks, you know.
For
and-
planting.
For planting, that's just planted in one morning.
Why
So,
can't the city go in and fill in the green area? They have a whole sustainability plan that they just adopted, and part of it was to put more trees in downtown Little Rock. Like they should have been.
Well, we
Yeah.
probably should have a discussion. That's a good point.
Exactly.
no, that'd be great.
But again, city was probably saying, that's the responsibility of the highway department.
Right.
That's a state highway.
And that is the problem when you've got two entities and they kind of.
But both were presenting this as a joint effort. That was the very good thing about it.
Yeah, it is good.
At the meeting Thursday night, we had Manish Krishnan, the Public Works Director.
Okay.
We had Casey Covington from the Metro Plan office that was the key to this. We had some folks from the State Highway Department, engineers. And so what you see there is basically clearly verbalized as a joint plan draft.
Right.
And they wanted it to be out to the public a little bit earlier than their normal pattern. This is at the stage of what their timeline in a project calls 30%. There's a draft. And they wanted a lot of public review and feedback, and they got a real overwhelming support Thursday night. All of the advocates who spoke, who turned in comments, were saying rah rah. And
Yeah.
they were gratified because now they can get up to 60% real fast. And in the spring, they told me they could go out for the next round of final drawings, I think might be the way to put it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got something else to pass out here. Mary, could you take one and pass it? This is the comment form from Thursday night.
Thank you.
And we have 15 days, which is 9/26, in which to put your comments on that page and either scan it or email it. There's the email address of someone on staff there, city form, to basically say, I support this wonderful project. And I'm hopeful that every one of you will take at least one form and do that.
Yes.
I have
And
no writing implement, I can only print.
I'm sure you're doing lighting along this area too. Who's providing the lighting along this area?
Yeah, strict, that's a
The
city.
city will do that?
they've got streetlights now.
Yeah, that's
So-
a
Well, part of their
significant safety.
sustainability plan is to put LED lights in all the city-owned lights.
Yeah, and so they're.
Right,
they're
right.
in the process
But
of
they
doing
own so
that.
few of them.
Yeah.
Energy owns most of the lights in Little Rock.
Well, trust me, energy's not gonna get away with slacking off on this one. And we got some leverage with our utility on that one.
You know, one thing we're noting too, which you might like, is, there's a place for this in the plans. They don't do this, but we wanted to get a historic marker down as far as we can go south on to Roosevelt, and another one at 17th to.
So as you turn into the
to
section.
welcome people, yeah, to welcome people to the area too. You know, to let them know you're driving through the area, recognize the experience. So, really the historic district actually goes almost to 6:30, so it would be more appropriate, again, if someday we could extend the road back further north, move the marker on down, that's where we are right now. So if you see it.
That's okay, then markers can be moved.
Yes,
Okay, yes, they can, yes, they can.
We, in future years, I want to be putting, proposal up there that the material in this flag, since there won't be electricity in the median amongst the vegetation, as I understand it, that it be night reflective letters. So the people driving into that zone after dark will be able to see at least something. Obviously, it depends on how wordy our plaque is, but we can probably meet that challenge.
So there's no lighting in the median?
No, no electricity, as I understand it. Are there? We've got the pictures here. Can you determine the magic little markers, Ed?
I don't think so. I'm guessing they're going to play off where the existing lights are. I don't know. We'll know more with
The next round.
the next round, including maintaining existing trees. We've also been a proponent of making sure that it's
The trees we've got were the key.
The very first round, there was, they were removing a lot of the trees and putting in 10-foot wide sidewalks. We said, well, wait a second. The trees provide environmental stability, improve walkability, and they've been there for a long time. Make the sidewalk 10 foot is not a standard. You don't see 10 foot sidewalk.
It's supposed to be 60.
It's not gonna have cafe tables on the sidewalk here, no.
Okay. So anyway, all that's like saying, so this next round, they're going to show us exactly which trees might. They know we want to keep all the existing trees. To that point, the deal is actually the curbs are actually moving in, so to the center of the street. So there's even more green area, which should help support the trees and all the growth that's already there. So in all ways.
You need to keep talking. I'm not sure we all understood what you just said.
Okay. The
Curbs are moving where?
They're moving. The street's getting skinnier.
Into the lanes, where the lanes.
There we go. Thank you.
It's the term road diet. It's getting skinny.
Yeah.
As I approach my cataract surgery, I recommend all the curbs be painted white with little reflectors on the corners to save my tires.
Okay.
Wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be bad.
Good point.
Anybody considered when you pave Broadway, when RDOT paves Broadway, using permeable asphalt so that it doesn't stay on the top?
I love that idea. I love anything that.
Do we know if the state highway department even has a contract for that material?
We don't.
Have they gone anywhere in that direction? Do we know?
I don't know that, but I
That's
know
just a-
that it's a possibility. It's just that most people don't even think about it
Oh,
until
well,
after
that's-
you have big
yeah.
potholes and go, oh my God, this eroded, instead of just sinking in.
But don't put in gratings that are vertical parallel to traffic because it'll catch a bicycle tire and throw it.
There's nothing there except some storm drain openings in the corner gutters.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing, there's no steel
Crosswalks are
grills.
perfectly okay, but like streetcars, rails, they'll throw a bike.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they will.
Okay. No, good
And
point.
be careful, but we won't have anything like that done.
I don't know. Haven't
See,
Oh, gradings tend to, let me see, they tend, I bet they're not gonna do it. Gradings tend to, that get blocked too with trash and junk. So I would tend to think you're gonna have inlets like.
We just have openings in the curb at the corners in that area.
Yeah, we'll check. Yeah.
And we can ask Public Works to verify no blockage.
Yeah.
And one of the things that neighbors can and should do is use that wonderful 311 app on the phone.
Yeah.
On a rainy day when you're out and you're coming up on one of our grid intersections, and all of a sudden there's water across the whole thing, and you look over there and there's a blocked storm drain, and you just snap a picture from your car and you send it in and say block drain at street intersection.
Yeah.
And we can maybe be intense about that on Broadway, as we have not bothered.
Mm-hmm. So we're actually reducing the amount of paved areas and increasing the amount of green. So yeah, I would think our runoff too is going to be reduced some too. So it's better environmentally in that regard too. The safety that way.
That is also true. That is also true.
So reducing the paving, I'm going to say 40% or so.
So back to my lighting question.
Yes.
Are there currently lights on either side of Broadway?
Oh, yes.
There currently? So,
Yes. The State Highway Department takes that very seriously,
I know, but they would be moved
Yeah.
in, I presume.
I presume they have requirements for amount of lumens on the street,
Right.
and that where you drive and where you walk. They have requirements for that, so I'm sure they are. The engineer that's involved in the project will make sure that it meets those standards. I'm going to drift a little bit. Actually, if you go and look, you'll see so many lights, and that there's overhead power lines. Really, 90% of the current curb line has overhead power lines. To which the problem for trees is you can't plant underneath those. So even more the reason, this is why we drifted into making sure we have green medium to plant trees to get a green canopy for shade and connectivity too. Because again, all those overhead power lines, tree streets, we've learned that is you
Well,
plant
you can
underneath
do
it.
redbuds and
You
dogwoods.
can do smaller, but
You can
not
do
a beautiful
decorative.
canopy.
Good
You
point.
can.
You sure cannot do the full canopy. You
No.
got that right.
Yeah, and there, there's some historically existing oaks that are there on down Broadway, some not in great shape, but some are still in good shape. So we want to be advocates for those trees that still are healthy to remain. So
Do we still have a city arborist tree guy?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We have a city arborist.
Oh.
Let me suggest that you put in a call to this fella and ask him to come out and pronounce it blessed, historic, and
Yeah.
if there's a type of protection he can award it,
yes,
a do not cut order
that's a good.
that goes into the city records somehow.
Yeah,
I mean, it's worth asking. I don't know how far we can take that.
yeah, and there,
You know, look at the state highway.
we've been told the state highway
Well,
has other ideas about that.
Yeah.
They're the ones who control that.
Yeah. So
And you're
but
gonna,
still,
you should talk to the City Beautiful Commission anyway, and they have a list of approved plants and everything, and you can go, we meet monthly, right there at City Hall.
Well, also, native plants is a good list to follow, and Master Gardeners is a good group to recruit for this. I'm hopeful that we can recruit the Master Gardeners in this,
that would be.
because they carry a lot of political influence, if they say it so.
And there are certainly some ladies that know historically appropriate.
Well, Curtin Hall has got a Master Gardener,
Oh, wow.
cadre, so we just ask them to pick up and carry on, is what comes to my mind.
It would be nice if they would want to take that on. It'd be lovely.
Oh gosh, that greets. That's such a nice
Or even.
greeting too. When you go to the visitor center.
Oh, they've
As soon as
done
you
a
walk up.
masterful job there, really.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a nice gesture.
In all seasons.
Yeah.
And that's something else to keep in mind for the median, is we want a 4 seasons
Absolutely.
planting
Of course.
schedule.
Yes, no. Nice.
I agree.
What's your timeline, if everything went smoothly and got approved and got through there and did all this, when would it actually be completed? And walk in line?
We don't know. The meeting this week, it sounded very positive about everything. Construction costs are going to be a lot more than the, planning, but it sounded very, very positive. That's as much as we
They
really-
see a way forward is perhaps the way I got from Thursday night.
Yeah.
They were real careful not to give numbers. And the one timeline I got was that in the spring, we're going to go out with refined plans. And then a few years on, we will begin, once we have assembled the funding. And clearly, it was once again going to be a state-city match with some metro plan involvement. Let's call it federal, because that's who gets their money, to actually put this into reality. So at a guess, the way things are going, and of course you had the Main Street experience, 5 years for this to be finished?
Oh.
Or is that
I don't know.
optimistic?
Main Street was just moved, it's repaved.
It wasn't so
It's
big a
just
deal,
new
that's
asphalt.
right.
The scope wasn't nearly as big. It's just new asphalt. When you pay for new asphalt, you pay new asphalt, you just put the stripes here or here. So it just worked well to get, when it got repaved, then they also moved the stripes around. Yeah. As far as this is much greater scope and cost too, so.
So are there separated bike lanes on each side too?
No, not on Broadway. Because they want,
So that's a state highway.
right.
They want you to run the next street
They
over.
want you to go over to the more residential streets or.
Yeah, and even John Wondowski, who's head of the pedestrian coordinator for the city too, he was the first to say, he said, no, we got ours in spring. He said, yeah, we're fine. He says, that's on our bike master plan, and he was just fine with that.
Not signing up to be roadkill.
Right. And for which it helps though too, I'm going to say, since that's there, that actually helps us move the curbs in even more to create.
That's right,
more
that is an
green.
allowance that's not there, so.
Yeah, so we love bike world connectivity, but for the sake of everything else too, and then structures, everything that's on there, it'd be great to be able to increase the green space that provided, so.
And then there are some neighbors worried about traffic being funneled over, because we actually live on Orange, which is the next street over, and so we're asking for studies for more stop signs to help control that. I mean, it's fine if you want to come down the street, but not race down the street.
And while we were departing from this hearing Thursday night, the cars had kind of slowed because the big commuter choke had passed. But then some guy comes along in his motorcycle and he is, by God, flying down there. And I'm not sure any road driver can see that it's going to persuade the motorcycles to code them.
Well,
So we
Yep.
may need to look for some other tools in the kit.
Yes,
And enters, you can sign those with there, because they will come in and cut trees without paying you.
oh, we know.
In their easements, they flat do it.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll do the middle of summer, which is the first time. So, yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, they don't care what it's done.
So plan well. So that's us. That's why we keep pushing for this green medium. Because
We've had that in the Heights before.
Yes.
We have centuries. So,
And I see on your plan you're making, providing for bus stops to be pushed out there too, so
That's another way that somebody driving along sees, well, let's not run into the bus stop. I might get hurt.
right, so you've made places for the
Yes.
buses to pull over.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
yeah, the clone engineers make sure they include that in the
Yeah, they did a
place.
good job. They
Yeah,
did a
because
good
you've got
job
so
of
many people in
placement.
Paris Towers that would be hopefully using this.
Right, and they really did study that, to make sure that, there were
that's good.
crosswalks there for them, there's a bus stop close for them.
Actually, they got one, but what they now have is 2 full-scale buses.
Right.
Stops on either side, east and west.
No, it's
They've only
much
got
better.
one on the west right now.
Right.
And there was a complaint acknowledged in the planning about how difficult it was for those folks to cross to go to the grocery store east of their property.
No, that's true.
And so I think that may be one reason to justify a full-scale bus stop because it basically snugs right next to the crosswalk and sends the message to the driver, let's slow down and not run up back of the bus stop. I thought that was pretty clever.
No, we like how they designed that. I think that's much safer for everybody.
I did make sure that both the absent from the Thursday hearing, Paris Towers manager, Erica Halleck, got these pictures in a comment form and urged to send in a comment by the deadline, as well as the owner of the pharmacy, Andy.
Yeah,
So he's now
good.
informed about that. We've been trading back and forth comments about that client of theirs, so I have plenty of opportunity to tell my pharmacists need to pay attention
Yeah,
to this
he's the
one.
most loved pharmacist.
Very fine fellow. Let me ask if you know of anyone else absent from Thursday night's hearing who needs to see this email and the comment form. I think you should have gotten that from me to be able to forward it, but if I slipped up on that, holler at me when we get back home, and I'll make sure that you get it.
Okay.
Because we need as many positive comments as we can. This is the time to stuff the ballot box, as they say.
No, I agree.
And
Yeah, okay.
anything else you can bring to us?
Just, eyes and ears open for the next meeting that'll come in the spring. That's all we want.
And I asked to be put on the notice list myself, so then when I get it, I can send it.
Yeah, so the next public
You
meeting,
fill
I
out
think
your
it's
form.
important as many people.
She's stuffing the ballot.
But also be sure to fill out these forms because it's
Well,
important that.
They need to have it in
I'll send it
writing.
from home.
They flat need to have it in writing.
Yeah, they do.
I can't do
Yeah, they were saying, yeah, they said the meeting this last week, they said they had to see how it went, they said, because there's a lot of pushback and this and that, they said they had to back up, slow down, whatever. But they said, very, very positive, only one or
that. They
two
got an email.
comments, but it's things that they could deal with. One, well,
Oh, that's always a relief.
yeah, but they, so in other words, yeah, so far, the feedback seems to be really good, so. But to which, though, yeah, the more everybody, sends their comments in too, the more support they get, it's very helpful, so.
What were the negatives?
Because one was concerned about traffic being pushed over to Orange.
Oh, okay.
And we've already had a concern about speeding without that even going on, so,
Right.
yeah, that was addressed.
It's covered this way, yeah.
Yeah, so that was addressed, and I don't know if there were any other comments, that was really the only concern I heard about.
How do they fix that? Do you know?
Well, we are suggesting that they put stop signs all the way down Arch, just like Gaines has.
Costs a nickel, it's cheap.
And I think it, safety-wise for the residents that live on the street, or that don't live on the street, or bringing their children and strollers, and people at Pierce Towers that are in a wheelchair, that they don't always go down the sidewalk, sometimes they are in the street.
Oh, Lordy, they sure are. I drive this section, so
And the residents.
I'm playing dodge 'em like you are.
And there's some residents that peel out and in of that parking lot a lot. Residents are guests, and so that's a concern as well. So, and there was, I think still is a bus stop right down the street, and there's a concern. It's just a safety concern. So I don't see any reason why stop signs couldn't help that, because, you can't barrel down the street. You'll either
Have
go
you
somewhere else or
communicated
you'll
this
go
to
somewhere.
Virtual Miller?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And we'd be the one to make sure that we got that.
No, and we've talked to the city people too, so that, and they were very receptive of our concern.
Mhm. I think they said they would study it again, but we let them know too, we just, I said, you gotta realize, yes, we have.
Anticipate
Speeding is.
what's coming. Don't just wait around till we have somebody squashed on Arch Street because they had done the alternative route.
Yeah, and then what, yeah, well, when you're in construction of Broadway, yeah, it's gonna get clear.
Here's my comment.
Broadway, for what it's worth too, Arch Street actually, if you go south to Roosevelt, it connects to a state.
Arch
highway.
Street Pike.
Yeah, it's Arch Street Pike, so again, it's a major connector, for which that's what we're seeing too, is, yeah, we're getting a lot of that traffic up and down from State Highway through Southwest. So all the better reason people need to slow down a bit.
Which is fine, just slow down.
Yeah.
You don't mind it having street.
There's a action that the Downtown Association just endorsed, and it's occurred to me that I need to pass this on to you. Courtesy of a lot of the bike and pedestrian safety enthusiasts. The association just sent a letter to city officials that urged them to embrace and apply the 20 is plenty safety rule, which is to say all of these little side streets, like our street is on the map, not in reality, but on the map, have a standard municipal ordinance speed limit of 30 miles an hour. That goes back decades.
Yeah.
And this is a new push to drop that to 20. Everywhere it's 30 in these residential streets for safety. So that can play into this. And it occurs to me, make a note of this.
20 miles an hour, I can say I was homeowners association president of Walton.
Speak up, we can't hear you.
I was president of the homeowners association in Walton Heights for 6 years, and our speed limit was 35. We got it down to 30. I can't even imagine going down to 20 because people did some screaming by lowering it 30 miles an hour. They still went 50. And
Somebody from the city one time, like, we talked about that, and he was good, he was very open about everything. He said, they were even clues. The clues are, here's this great, wonderful street with stop signs. I'm going to drive tonight, I'm going to head home. I'm going to drive what I wanted to drive. I'm going to drive my speed that I want to. Yeah, you post a sign. Our street's now posted at 25. It hasn't been a difference.
Usually put one less than 30 miles an hour. It's never-
Well, you start ticketing them. You remember Broadway now.
They never ever enforce them.
Well,
We've tried.
they've got radar traps that regularly come to Broadway. In fact, they put the little notices in the paper. Today, there's going to be a radar speed cap on this street and this street, and then, because it's a commuter thoroughfare. And since we know that they exist, and we know that particularly when you say construction starts and people are going to start going down Arch alternatively, we can press the police for that speed trap to be operating at the lower speed on Arch and make it cost them. Plus, of course, if there's a blinking blue at the side curb by a stopped car, that is a variety of road diet in itself.
If I may, stop signs, they cost a nickel. They're cheap, they're permanent, and they're there. And it's,
But combine them with the radar cruise, the
Okay.
motorcycle radar cruise,
Yeah.
is probably going to be a good thing to pursue.
when you push more traffic over into Arch Street, that also reduces the amount of road noise that you are experiencing as a homeowner.
Yes.
And that's a negative, pushing the traffic all into one street. If you could divide it up and sort of disperse it to not just one street.
Right, so we want to make sure there's something in place that doesn't.
So I haven't been down Roosevelt, down to Roosevelt, or Broadway for a long time. What's in the old Safeway building, or whatever the grocery store used to be on the,
There's a Sim's Barbecue
really?
and a very large cosmetology wholesale business.
Yeah, that's about it.
And then the filling station is still on the other side.
The filling station has been converted to some other use.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I want to say a Sharks food
Yeah.
convenience
Used to be
outlet.
a KFC.
Oh, it is
Oh,
short.
yeah.
It has gone to Sharks
Yeah.
across from
There's
the
a funeral
Sim's
home,
Barbecue.
is that correct, Short?
Yeah.
It's either that or one block over on Arch. I
I know,
forgot which way.
I get confused too, I've been down there forever, but there is a Short, no, and then there's that other house, and then the Maynard house.
Yeah.
That's correct, there's not.
It's kind of the approaching block to Roosevelt is halfway commercial, halfway still residential. is might the way
It
to
is.
put it.
I just haven't been down there in a very long
Well,
time.
that's a good question. It's a huge parking lot. It'd be nice
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have
that's
like an alternative.
Yes, it is, and they've never found anybody who wanted to build on the out parcel. I'm confident somewhere back, north and east, there's an owner of that property
Yeah.
that could, support some kind of, commercial endeavor if anybody who made it worth their while. But, let's ask about that other big utility, which is the electrical substation transformers that are next to the commercial lot on Broadway, headed north. It's down slope, is it not?
Yeah.
It may not, it may in fact not be right on the curb.
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
set back, isn't it?
It's set back, but there's not a house in front of it, right? It's just a big electrical transformer substation.
Sorry,
What address?
what's your concern about it? You're just wondering?
We just need to, pay attention to the future property owners association, owners of the property. In fact, a good research topic would be to go to the tax assessors folks and find out the property taxpayers of record for all of these folks. One assumes that Energy is the transformer owner, and that therefore they have not only an obligation but an interest in the green medium, especially since the latest plan has a little tongue of green both in the 1700 block and the 2400 block. As originally planned, there would be nothing but asphalt. So that was very gratifying for all of us to see
Yeah.
Thursday night,
Yeah.
was that there was a bit of green, but that also draws them into maintenance of the landscaping, permanent funding, property owners association.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's,
You just do ask for acceptance flowers.
bite your tongue.
No, I'm not kidding. I don't want to think up yard. I never do that.
Well, I don't care about lawns either, and I don't do anything for mine, but I got plants.
Well, I said plants. but
I
not
didn't hear
plants,
that over
not
the
plants,
noise.
Plants.
Okay,
As a
Okay.
caravan plants.
There's a Dollar General, it says, in that section.
in the corner property?
Yeah,
Well, I went in when I wasn't looking. Oops.
Well, they'll never come with like this.
I'm seeing the substation,
The Dollar Tree's going in clear, stuff.
Oh, wait.
What are you looking, Google Earth?
yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. I hope we have some more comments coming to the officials there on the form. Please, please, please do just write, one sentence that says, I support this wonderful project. Or whatever adjective occurs to the person. And send it in by the deadline. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you,
Well,
thank you, thank
we
you.
just support. But
You're welcome.
We will have a return engagement maybe a year from now and know much more about it.
Stay tuned, I think.
We will stay tuned.
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
thank y'all for giving us the time.
Yes.
And remember that this is now recorded, and it can be, the link will be posted so you can refer it to folks who want to know more about this project. You now have something to share.
Good.
Well, thanks, Kathy.
Good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all
Thank you.
very much.
So this concludes,
Back to the painters, yes.
this concludes the Broadway Boulevard discussion for this morning. We're now going to turn our attention to the question of the October 7th National Night Out celebrations, which, according to several people that I called this week, are not going to be active in their neighborhoods. And so I want to emphasize that what I'm talking about here is the kind of safety information that is good for any neighborhood association at any monthly meeting. If you're not going to take part in the National Night Out events of October the 7th, pivot to one of your monthly meetings where you want to talk about crime and safety. The big thing that I want to promote is safes for handguns. We'll take that and pass it on. These are the two websites that have details, that have, they have a slideshow, which I was not technically able to bring to you today. I suspect Mary could have done it if I'd pressed on her, but I imposed on her too much. But they'll have best practices about keeping your family safe with a handgun safe. They will have types of storage, and that goes to the little box, of course, the full-sized gun safe. This is my favorite. This goes into the one for travel safe. So you could use it looping the steel around the leg of your bed and have it handy when you're at home. But then when you go traveling, what you do is you loop that steel cable around the base of your car seat. And the police chief is particularly keen to promote this type of safe and secure holding for guns because he's got a really troublesome number of major crimes where they recover a gun that turns out to have been stolen from somebody's car. And between keeping the kids from getting into the guns at the house and having tragic headlines like 4-year-old kills 2-year-old, recently a fact in this community, you've got the way to keep the thieves away from your gun. And there's a variety of other ones. They're very reassuring about the way these gun cases go. They are pointing out that particularly older kids have gotten very successful at getting through various keys and locks, which is why they're really recommending biometric or thumbprint locks. Now you can set the case to accept both husband and wife or brother and brother kinds of multiples, but you can make sure that the kids aren't going to be getting into that. So then you've got another type of security device, and you have got another type of security device. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Mary to take that and pass it around. That's what's available on these websites that you've got there. And then we go to the separate one, which is secure storage in cars that I've been talking about. The chief really, really has an interest in that. In fact, there is this text. Majority of gun homicides and assaults involve stolen or illegal guns. And a lot of them come from cars that are stolen out of the driveway at their residence. So you just got to be a lot more attentive about keeping your gun secured. And our neighbor to the river, Memphis, Tennessee, has the highest rate of guns stolen from cars. And in 2022, there were more than 3,000 gun thefts. Now, Memphis is a big city, but that's a lot of stolen guns to be running around.
From the glove compartment or under the seat?
No, what you do is you've got that little steel cable.
No, I mean,
Where
are
they
they
storing
stealing
the
them
guns?
from? The glove compartment? Or under the
A lot of people just have it under the seat or the glove compartment, yes. They're very, very casual about it.
Either way.
And what often happens is they're traveling and they kept it close, but then they stop for the lunch meal. Oh, well, I can't take it in. I don't want to take it into the restaurant. So they just tuck it away somewhere. They think out of sight is out of mind. But that doesn't hold up. And then there's a reference to the laws that you need to be informing yourself about on how they apply to you, especially if you're traveling. For the event of October the 7th, we are encouraging folks who are having an event to bring in a gun safe and display it. At the one for the Downtown Association, which will be at the Bernie's Garden that night, our community police officer, Tillette, is going to bring his safe from home and demonstrate it. And we've also arranged with the police chief to borrow from their training programs some of their red and blue plastic guns, so it's clear it's a sample device that can be used to kind of make it more realistic, a demonstration about the gun safes. And then we'll have those kinds of pages on display so that people are encouraged about the great range of prices and the great range of devices that they can make use of to keep their families safe, because we're really promoting this slogan that real men protect their families by putting their guns in a gun safe. And I'm still recruiting for that famous celebrity that we can maybe get some public service announcements recorded out of that and promote that. I just haven't found that person yet. Well, I'm afraid he's going to read the modern script, so we're going to need someone who can read the modern script. However fancy the technology is, I don't think. Although if we really had somebody clever pull it off, that might be attention-getting.
You got a hologram of this.
Well, yes, that is true. That is true.
My cold, dead hands.
We don't want them to get it in their hands, period. Thank you. No. But it really is a very powerful report that we got back in April from Anna Morchetti from the Public Safety Commission about the number one cause of death in this country is guns. Period. And after that comes the horrific companion report about the ones who get into the family gun and commit suicide with it. And if you can make sure that your kids are young and don't fumble into it, and that your teenager who's going through teenage depression cycle doesn't get into it, then whatever method that teen might use to try for suicide is much more likely to be survivable. And we're not touching the Second Amendment rights stuff at all. It's just, you got a gun, you lock it up. Keep your family safe. You lock it up. Don't let the crooks get it out of your car. Which I would think everyone can get behind. We hope everybody can get behind. And we just need to keep on saying it like all the other things. One of the other things that is always good for safety program that night or in your neighborhood at any time is asking the city crime prevention officer, Tracy Brandon, for copies of their safety flyers. They have updated one on child safety, scams against the elderly. Of course, that's always changing. A home inventory checklist, which is really valuable because you go around finding out, oh, you've overlooked the fact that your back door doesn't have a key-operated deadbolt. They could break the glass, get in, flip the switch, and there you're in, and you're vulnerable. So you need to upgrade your locks. Kind of a checklist. And then cybercrime is always with us, and they've got a flyer for that. You may well get a community police officer to make these presentations for your home neighborhood or your event that night. If you have a regular community police officer coming to your meetings, that's ideal. But if not, you can get these and present them yourselves and hand out copies to all of your members. You can also, of course, get what I would call a copy master and scan it into an email attachment and send it out to your mailing list. Because we always have absent friends. We don't get everybody who's in the group coming to the meetings. but it's a good time to stop and take thought about what you have provided for safety information to your home groups. And we really do encourage that. And in fact, there's another thing that I've got here. Exercises for safety. I want to have everybody take one and pass it, and if you want to take a couple home with you, you're welcome to do that. You might want to take two and fill out one and then have one that's a copy master. But this comes from one of the advocates groups at a meeting I attended recently. As you can see, it's Mothers of Black Sons Standing Against Death is their name. These are the bereft mothers of homicide victims. And they are advocating a lot more safety. They would advocate for gun safes if they had been connected with it. I did my best to connect them at the meeting that day. And down at the upside down corner, you have the answers right there at the bottom of the sheet. So you can find out right away what's the issue. Virgil Miller, we're so glad you're here.
Yes, Love Neighborhood meeting just concluded.
We'll sign in and have some coffee or some bottled water, take a cookie. I would like to ask now that people have been looking at the pop quiz, is there a particular question that stands out to you? Virgil, if I may ask you to come up here so we can get you in our live stream camera view. Our technologist would be grateful for the position. And you arrived just as we handed out a pop quiz that might be useful for neighborhood monthly safety meetings and on the night of October the 7th, National Night Out. You may have seen that before.
I have not.
But the answers are down under your thumb, so you'll get the answers right away.
Oh, like I used to take in college.
Well, let me say, have one that you can fill out and one you can use as a copy master and share around with folks. And give you a moment to take that into account. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me pass these around. This is part of the city data material and the city police material. This shows you how the districts for the police department are divided up. For example, if I'm going to be checking into what the Downtown Neighborhood Association statistics are, I've learned that that is District 52. And I've learned to pay attention to it on the city's printout. They've got one that's kind of interesting because it runs from January to August. And it turns out, for all of the rejoicing about reduced crime rates, our district has an uptick in robberies. And what's more, when you go to the separate district of interest, which is the River Market, they have an uptick in robberies. And so now you have something to ask the police about to get an understanding about why there seems to be an uptick of robberies in your neighborhood. So once again, that's good for a discussion in your neighborhood at any safety meeting, any monthly meeting, as well as for the National Night Out event, October 7th. Want people to know that that resource is there. And it's useful to keep track of it. The quarterly meetings that they offer are trailing way behind. For example, the one in September that they had for a quarterly meeting only had through the first 2 quarters of the year. The one that I was able to find companion screen that went just straight from January to August, which was basically the date I was able to pull it off the webpage, had more recent material and gave you a longer time trend. And incidentally, it raised a little bit more of a question about why are all these robberies happening? Because that's not a property crime. That involves people being held up to take money and goods from them. And for all of the intense police presence that occurs in the river market, that's a real spike in robberies down there that I think nobody's really talked about in public, that I think we should do.
Well, if you reduce the number of law-abiding, undocumented workers in the community, you're going to increase the crime rate.
Let's not go there. Let's stick to the local stuff, please. Have we got some stuff that's collected over there that might need to come back for Virgil Miller to see? I'm thinking about the Broadway pictures and the other material.
Yeah, we never saw them over here.
I'm sorry.
Ah, they have a new residence academy, okay.
Only 20 spots.
Well, all righty. Yeah. Yeah. The quarterly meetings are kind of dry and full of stats. It's a place that you can meet people, but it's a difficult meeting in itself, and you should be prepared for that. It's a good place to make those connections with staff that you then have personal conversations with afterward. Hello, welcome. Sign in, get some coffee, get some water. He needs to see those stats, so that's what we're talking about. He comes from another meeting where the city flyer was handed out. Once again, they have committed a great misdirection, bad decision. They decided that it was a lot of work for all these elected officials to come to all these neighborhoods on National Night Out to celebrate crime fighting. So they said, oh, we're going to consolidate and have you come to our 4 locations, which are major properties, where they're going to have nothing to do, as near as I can find out, with fighting crime. They're going to give you a hamburger, and they're going to have a bouncy house for the kids, and they're going to have a blood pressure station for the seniors. And I have complained vigorously to no success. But let me just take a moment to say at this table that I think hijacking a neighborhood event of some decades of operation for the convenience of bureaucrats and elected officials is the wrong move for the city hall, and they should not do that ever again. So, if you think likewise, feel free to speak up to your folks. He's now heard it, so.
Yes, I will share with you, apologize for tardiness, but the Love Neighborhood Association meeting was meeting at the same time, 10 o'clock today right here, right across the hall. Their meeting just concluded. And I can share with you that they voiced the same concerns about National Night Out. When I first got on the city board, the East Little Rock Neighborhood Association would have their night out in their community. The Petaway neighborhood would have their night out in their community. The South End neighborhood would have theirs. The Wright Avenue would have theirs. And then there would be a meeting right here at the Willie Hinton Neighborhood Center. And also a meeting at Bernice Garden. And I would try to go to all the meetings. And I enjoyed going to all the meetings. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I like getting out because I could meet more residents. But there has been a ever increasing pattern of trying to consolidate a lot of neighborhoods to have meetings in one spot. And what was shared in the Love neighborhood was that they don't know if that's the best way to do it, because you'd have a lot of vendors, and you'd have more vendors and food trucks than you'd have residents.
And you wouldn't achieve the purpose of the event.
Yeah, the purpose is, to me, purpose is to meet people where they live and hear concerns that way. But now it's sort of turned into almost a party kind of thing for the city, a bunch of food trucks. Last year I went to a meeting, a neighborhood meeting at War Memorial Park, and there were several neighborhoods together, and I didn't know who was from what neighborhood, who was what, and it was a little confusing. I got lost. I'm the city director. I got lost because it said one War Memorial Stadium. So I went to the parking lot of War Memorial Stadium looking for the National Night Out, because that's the address. And I'm thinking, obviously I'm in the wrong spot. And so I just started walking around, and I spotted a tent. And so I walked from the stadium over to where it was a long walk, y'all.
What was it, over by the pavilion
It was by the
stadium?
pavilion. I didn't know where to park. I was lost.
Oops.
I was lost. So again, I've heard, just making a point, I've heard some of the same concerns that I just heard here, that they're not sure if consolidating all the neighborhoods is really the best intention. So I think we're going to I'm going to bring that conversation up. I know another director who shares the same concerns. Obviously, one of the reasons why it was done was that I think there was concern about stretching staff so many ways, and people trying to get to all the neighborhoods.
I'm sorry, let's just call it what it is. This was an official elected re-election campaign stop. And if you can pull that many voters together and feed them a hamburger at the hands of the police, then you've turned it into a personal benefit trip. And it's just wrong. And it doesn't have to be all the staff. I'm not asking for any of your staff to come to the Downtown Association, Virgil, except the dog or the horse or the drone patrol. And all the other stuff, I'm going to pick up in advance. We're going to hand out the flyers. We're going to hand out these quizzes. Welcome, Joan Adcock.
Yeah.
Director Adcock, you can have my seat right here. We need to have you on camera if you'd like to be on camera here.
Our technologist says this is the place to be. Can you get her? Okay.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
I won't miss John.
Would you like some coffee?
Hello. Or bottled water?
No, thank you.
Okay. And it just troubles me that it seems to have changed purpose so drastically. Thank you for your support
We were voices.
in returning to the true and the right.
Well, I think Director Adcock may want to opine on this about National Night Out being consolidated when it used to be each neighborhood. I know you share some concerns at the Love neighborhood meeting, and you may want to share those with the coalition here.
We're objecting to the consolidation in the four places. We think it should be held back in the neighborhoods. So what do you think?
Well, I was just talking to the gentleman next door, and he was talking about trying to put it back together in the neighborhood. He and some of our other neighborhoods, this was a big event of the year, and we all went to all the different places. In fact, I had a couple of mayors at times that we had contests of how many we could go to. Ronnie Jackson is another one that has such a big one that's over the east side of Little Rock. And they feel like they have lost something in not having the National Night Out here. And they was talking over there about contacting their other neighborhood presidents in the area and see if they can go ahead and have another one here. But to them, they lost a lot of the neighborhood. They called their people who had been to the group here, and they said that they was not going to
I had several tell me that they were not participating, and I called the coalition members this week. So I've been bringing information about safety that is good for any monthly meeting. Welcome, come in, sign in, have water, have coffee. And that includes gun safes. You remember we were particularly concerned about the leading cause of teen deaths and suicides in teens getting the family gun in hand to use it wrong. And so we've been passing it. Do we have any more of these? Yeah.
I took a picture.
Anita, if you could bring the spares.
I'll give it all.
Yeah, I took pictures, so I don't really need hard copies.
That's okay, that's okay. We need to share this with Joan. We're talking about the gun safe information. We're talking about something that's dear to the chief, which is the thefts from cars. There's a great number of major crimes that turn out to be the source of a stolen gun. And so the variety that has the steel cable in the corner that can be locked to the car seat as well as the bedpost is something that we really are promoting people to try and undertake. Because real men with guns protect their families, they put the gun in a safe. Is what the message is. And there's a variety of tools, there's a variety of expense. That's what's available on these two websites that are on this page that everybody's gotten. Did you get one, sir? Or you didn't get one. Okay. Pass that back in, please. And that's what we work over here this time. No, that's yours to keep.
Okay.
That is yours to keep. This is yours to keep. We want people to be looking at crime issues like the pop quiz there about Black Death. We want to be looking at the city statistics. That's what are now in the hands of Director Adkins. It turns out when you're paying attention, yes, the crime is down, but in the District 52 operating inside the Downtown Neighborhood Association, we have a spike in robberies. That's January to August. There is another spike in robberies in River Market, which is a separate nearby issue area of concern. So that's something that you look at and you ask the police to talk with you about what seems to be the origin for that. And so this is the kind of a thing. Obviously, you get flyers from the Crime Prevention Officer, Tracy Brandon. The child safety, scams against the elderly, cybercrime, home inventory checklist, where you go around the house and you find out, oops, I need a key-operated deadbolt on that back door so they don't break the glass and you get in, and that sort of a thing. And that's great if we've got a national night out on the 7th. It's good for any monthly meeting your neighborhood has, where you're trying to bring them a safer place to live, a safer home with a gun in the safe, and keeping it out of the hands of criminals. Turns out a lot of the criminals stealing guns steal it when it's sitting in the driveway of the family home. Oops. So that's just carelessness. We need to heighten the awareness of that. And so that's basically catching up. What have we got to bring us?
The mayor was asked the other day if they would continue the curfew down the Bruce Market, and the answer is no. There is no plans at this time.
Well, I saw the news story. That was the special one. They've fallen back on the regular one, though, have they not? 9 o'clock on weekends?
Well, what I can share with you is that when the incident happened that caused the mayor and the city board to agree to the curfew, it was stated that the curfew would be discontinued after school started, and that there would be information collected about the results of the curfew, how many incidents, citations, a lot of data was being collected. Because I can tell you that I had received a call after, and the vote to have the curfew was unanimous.
I remember
And as well as should have been, quite frankly, there should have been some action, strong action, immediate action taken. That's what the mayor of the city board did. But I can tell you, I had some people call me right after that vote that said the curfews don't work, nationally they don't work, statistically they don't work. I had a 45-minute conversation with someone who disagreed with my vote on the curfew. And I said, well, action had to be taken. What would have been your suggestion? That we do nothing? And so there wasn't a real good answer to that question from the person I was talking to. And finally, after 45 minutes, I just said, look, you and I are going to have to agree to disagree. There are 9 other people that voted for this, including the mayor. Maybe you need to call them too. But I had shared with him that information was going to be collected and that information was going to be shared with the public. And I shared that with the mayor that we need to, now that that curfew was ended, we need to have the results of it. Because I also had someone who called me who said these kids all get citations of parents, and is this going to stay with them for the rest of their lives? Just because somebody did some bonehead thing or made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes at that age. I'm not sure if anybody in this room that did some stuff, but I've always been told that there was the caught and there was the uncaught, Reverend. And so everybody had done dumb stuff. And so would there be some efforts, this person to say, to expunge information, make sure it doesn't follow them for the rest of their lives? And I said we could take a look at that too. So there's information that should be gathered. I've asked the mayor, and also some other directors at our meeting yesterday, when are we going to get the information about the results of the curfew? The mayor said he is asking Chief Helton to come before the board and make a report. So we will have that information. Once we have that information, of course, it will be shared publicly. There's some concern from residents who said, well, if the curfew worked, why are we taking it off? My response to that would be, we said we were going to take it off. We said we were going to look at the information. We will react to that. But make no mistake about it. To anybody here and anybody looking at this live stream, if there is something that kicks back up, you saw what the mayor and the city board did. We acted immediately. And so if there's going to be, if something happens again that shows that taking this curfew off is going to result in things going back like what they had or another incident like what they had, we're going to act immediately.
I appreciate that, but let me ask a further question, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
For these, as I understand the citations, particularly with juveniles, one of the really critical things is that you have immediate action to intervene. There's a whole body of thought about the quicker you catch them, the quicker you persuade them to change their behavior, which makes sense to me, particularly with teens. And so one of the things that I hope and will come and ask you to pursue, if it's already not already being brought into the collection of information, is that if Susie or Sammy are given a citation for violation of the curfew, how quickly is that brought into the system? Are they immediately moved to a place, the parents are immediately rousted out late at night, where they dropped the kids off in the first place, to come and get the kid? Is there some process by which this is very promptly moved through the system? And whatever outcome of that judicial process by that juvenile judge occurs very quickly. Or if not, then you just rack up some citations and you get around to scheduling it in some future 2-week date, we need to know that too.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, I think those are legitimate questions and concerns. When this curfew was put into place, what was shared with us is that we have 3 great juvenile judges that do a great job and exercise a lot of leniency and or discretion with regard to how they talk to the juveniles and bring in the parents. So that information needs to also be shared.
Yes.
And the person that called me had talked about a study that was done in Gonzaga where they were able to get records expunged. You may have heard even today as we speak at the Holiday Inn Presidential Center. There is a conference going on now about de-incarceration. Not incarceration, de-incarceration, where people that have records can get those expunged. It's going on right now to try to help people get back on their feet.
I think the group advocate name is decarcerate.
That's what they get. Well, decarcerate.
Decarcerate.
Yes, because I hadn't heard the term before. I'm familiar with the term incarcerate, but they say this is a
There being a little variation there. Decarcerate.
Decarcerate conference.
That's what
I've never heard of it. I heard it on the Broadway Joe Morning Show this morning. I hear about a lot of meetings that's going on, but that's going on right now. I think that is a great thing to try to get people their rights back so that they can rent an apartment, so they can get a job. Because as you know, you're filling out job application. Have you ever been convicted certain time? You check that. That goes into the trash. Some people.
And the city has, in fact, dropped that box. You're not asked if you apply for a city job today in Little Rock. Mm-hmm. Have you been convicted of a crime?
And that's what this, what did you call it?
Decarcerate
conference is going on. And so I think the same thing, the same principle is what we're going to take a look at with regard to the curfew and maybe how many kids got, if we citation, I don't know. That's why the chief and the mayor's asked the chief to make a report to the whole board about the results of the curfew. And so then
See,
we
but
can
when
take
you say chief reports, I'm not hearing we got any reports from the juvenile justice folks, so let's not leave them out.
No, we will also
Thank you.
ask for the juvenile judges, because when this was done, it was shared with us that we have great juvenile judges. I don't know all the juvenile judges, but I've heard we got great juvenile judges that exercise a lot of understanding with regard to what's going on. So I want to get the information. The mayor has said that Chief Helton is going to present the information. We will know what's happened, and so that we can act accordingly. But make no mistake about it. If there is another incident that happens and it's linked towards juveniles and maybe that it wouldn't have happened if we had this curfew still in force, everyone in here saw that that incident happened on a Saturday night, so the board acted Tuesday immediately. And so we will act. I have no bones about us taking action. So I want to assure everyone that we hear you, we understand that action was taken, and that if something happens again, I would expect that we would act with the same amount of urgency and speed. So I'm comfortable with that. But also I want to make sure that, and I support what the mayor had said, that the curfew was going to be lifted at school. It's lifted. He's a person of his word. That's what the board voted to happen. But now we need to know the results of that, because some people are concerned, well, if it works so well, why'd you take it off? We said we were going to take it off. We said we were going to study the information. If something happens as a result of us taking that off, I think you'll see we will act with speed to try to rectify any kind of problems.
Questions from anybody? further question then.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that the outcome of the actions by the juvenile judges might lead to recognized need for prevention, intervention, treatment contract to intervene with these categories of folks, these particular cases, to modify their behavior so they don't do that stuff again?
I'm going to.
Kind of the next step down the way.
I'm going.
This tells you something, and you're going to need some money to address it.
Yeah. I'm going to plead ignorance on what happens with juvenile judges, but I would pretty much say that they have a lot of these type of programs in place. I just don't know all the programs because I haven't really studied that, but I would imagine, and of course that may be a good
Maybe
good
time
thing to
for
have.
a little bit of a briefing there.
Well, it may be a good thing for you as a coalition of Little Rock neighborhoods, maybe to ask one of the juvenile judges to come and make a presentation at one of your meetings. That's just a suggestion. Because they have a lot of programs. I know that when Judge Warren was on the bench, they had a lot of programs. So they have a lot of programs that I don't know anything about that really try to help kids and help the parents. Because again, people you're a teenager, you're going to look back on some stuff. I'm 72 years old now. I look back on some stuff that I did as a teenager, and I just cringe. I just wasn't caught, y'all. I wasn't caught. And some of the stuff could have gotten me in some very, very serious trouble. Just thank God for mercy. And I would imagine that some kids that have been caught and went before a juvenile judge that had some mercy on them, thank goodness for mercy from the juvenile judge. And I've also seen that a judge will say, look, I've seen you 6 times now. You have exhausted my patience. And so I can't speak for juvenile judges. I don't know all their programs, but I guarantee you they have programs that try to help young people get back on track and try to help the parents. And just
And they're so likely to be underfunded and overwhelmed.
I can't speak
Speaking
to
to the
that.
choir, I know, but didn't want to put it on record.
Okay. So again, that might be a good speaker to have at one of your future meetings. And it may be good for us as a board to have, Director Adkins, maybe somebody come make a presentation. But when we get all this information, I can assure you that the chief, at the direction of the mayor, is going to give us the results of the curfew.
Looking forward to that. When I get it, I'll give it out. Yes, Jerry.
You're talking about programs, talking about decarceration, but our last Arkansas legislature, or the one before that, they voted, this guy said, we're going to make them serve their whole sentence, by golly, keep them there longer so they won't do anything, which of course means that since they set the citizen guidelines to give them a cushion there, so when the prison says goodbye, there's actually a parole officer to nudge them into staying straight for a while, whereas when they serve their whole sentence, they go flat. There's nobody looking after them, and there's more likely to be
So many of
trouble.
them come to our neighborhoods in Little Rock because that's where the jobs are in the community.
And
But
then
it's even more serious than that every time this cycles back through. And I've been watching this prison reform, prison change, prison policies go from one extreme to the other since basically 1968. And what everybody forgets and nobody heeds when they get very angry about not serving your full term is they're setting up every employee of the prison to get stuck with a shiv. Because you've got no reason to care about good behavior and time off for good behavior. They have killed the very important coinage of a prison community that puts all the lives of staff in danger. And at some point, somebody's going to persuade them this is true, and you're going to see a change again. And why they don't listen when they proposed this in the first place is a very sad reflection on the way we make our policies in the state today. Enough said about that. I wanted to welcome these two, in addition to Joan Adkins. Please tell us your name and what your neighborhood is.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. I'm Anita Danielle Claiborne. I am the president of Petaway Neighborhood Association, and I do apologize for being late, but I had another meeting that was a requirement based on what I'm trying to continue.
That's what the recordings are for, is to play catch up.
Yes, so thank you. I'm here. Thank you.
Sir?
And I'm Larry Johnson. I'm the resource specialist here at this building. And of course, I was in another meeting as well, but I'm excited to be here as well.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad we have this place to meet. I remember when we made this plan and did this work. Do we have anything from you to announce?
If it's all right, I'd like to announce the National Night Out. As I've said to everybody else, and we're going to do the disclaimer here, that we have 4 locations. We used to have it all over the city, but recently, last year, we started doing the 4 locations, and needless to say, everybody's not excited about the location because they wanted to stay in the communities. But, however, we'll have it at 4 locations. One would be at 641 Baseline with Southwest Community Center. Then we'll have one at West Central Community Center, which is 8616. If y'all want a copy of this, let me know. I can make some copies. And then one will be at MacArthur. And on here, got one Memorial, one Stadium Drive, but the address is not correct. We don't be at the stadium, we be at the park, or the pavilion.
Pavilions? Yes. I think before you came in, we were hearing that redirection from Virgil Miller.
Yeah, and I told them last year, okay, this is not the address, it's not where we are. They printed it again. Told them again this year. I emailed my supervisor. She said she'll give it to them. They got it there again. And if you're coming to it, you're going to go where the address is, one Stadium Drive. You're going to go to over there. And several people went over there last year, and so they said, well, you haven't done no pit. This is one of them. Ricky Miller went over there because you're following the address that's on the flyer. Even though I'm telling them, don't
Yes,
put
some of us have learned to be wary about city information like that.
You know, so that's one thing we have. And of course, you may have heard also about the Resident Academy, 2025 Resident Academy.
Tell us about that. I went to that once upon a year.
Well,
That's a good thing.
They said registration is open for the first 20 residents on a first come, first served basis. October the 16th through November the 13th, night of sessions are 6 o'clock to 7. And again, if you need a copy of this, I can give you a copy of all this stuff. But I want to encourage everybody to come to these because when I'm going to different neighborhood association meetings as a resource specialist, my job is not the same as codes, and so but codes are not always there. So therefore, they're asking me, the city. I say I just represent a portion of the city as a resource specialist, and one of my jobs is just kind of ride the streets to make sure that the city's looking good for visitors and for the mayor and the city director and all that kind of thing. There's no kind of furniture on the curbs and appliance and all that. I make sure the stop signs are not knocked down and no potholes. So that's one of the things I'm doing all
let me give you a stop sign. I'm sorry, an intersection sign that's missing.
Okay.
When I went to get the coffee, thank you, Kevin Howard, for coffee donated for our meetings.
Okay.
I'm turning off of Broadway east onto 12th to get over to Community Bakery, which is Main and 12th.
Okay.
And the Mount Holly Cemetery open gate is on my left. Somebody has disappeared the intersection sign at 12th and Broadway. There's just nothing at that intersection.
12th and nothing. Okay.
Yeah, it's disappeared entirely, pole and all.
Well, I'll check that out.
Maybe it's at someone's yard for salvage to buy a rock of crap.
I'll check that out. I passed
But
the church.
check that one out. So,
But I want to invite you all to come. If everybody can't come, I really try to encourage.
I should say those are excellent services.
Send a person because all the answers to the dilapidated homes, the high grass, the car that won't run, the car that's parked on the street, the
Parking in the front yard.
Parked in the front yard. What's the difference between on the grass and blocks sitting in the yard? Some people got so sagacious that they got blocks in them, which of course the court deal with facts and not truth. Truth is in the front yard, the fact is they're not on the grass. So that's what they deal with. But anyway, this is a good thing to come because typically the director, the assistant director, sometimes the mayor, sometimes assistant directors are there, the supervisor, they got managers, they got co-seniors, all of these guys are there with the answers. Okay,
They have
yes,
a safety program that has stuck with me to this day. And it's about guns and safe handling of guns. And the point of that particular evening from the Training Academy sergeant who runs the shooting gallery, that's not the name that my brain runs, was making the point that if people do possess a gun for self-protection, they need to practice with it, they need to know how to clean it and keep it up, and they need to know what's the impact. And he says, and I've remembered this next statement all my life since, a standard handgun that's fired at some intruder and misses will travel the length of a city block and can still kill people or do property damage. So if you're not going to make sure that you deliver your bullet on the intruder you're aiming at, you need to work on that. Because otherwise, you may kill your neighbor a block away. So that stuck with me from that episode of my training. Is anyone bring anything else to our table? Have we covered everything?
Oh, they have the trunk or treat that'll be at West Central Community Center, 6:30 p.m. Friday, October 31st. You all may not come, but may have grandkids or great-grands or whatever. And I think this is a safe place if you're concerned about the community. Sometimes in the community, it's not always safe.
Yes. Trick-or-treating is not what it used to be.
It's not what it used to be, but I can guarantee you a place like this where they'll have supervision on that is a safe place if you want to attend or if you have family that wants to attend.
And we still do it door to door in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Oh, goody. I'm glad that we've had one that's not suffered from the change in modern times. Okay, thank you so much. Anybody have anything else?
Tell you, it's very crowded on Halloween night.
I can tell you, Otter Creek is very crowded. People come from all over the city
Yeah.
to trick or treat.
You've got high reputations, then you have a lot of tables.
But I live in Otter Creek and I know they do that.
You know what I'm talking about.
The last thing I want to talk about is the 2025 neighborhood coordinator meeting. Have y'all talked about that already?
We've said yes, that
Okay.
they're rough to do, but it's a good place to make contact, and then you should have private conversations with the officers after the rather dull recitation of statistics.
Okay.
But yeah, when we get those notices, we
Okay.
send them out to our group,
Good deal.
group thing.
All right.
Thank you all for coming. Next month, we're going to be talking about the rate hike for the sewers. And we had asked Director Miller to talk to us about the budgets. Yesterday was the first budget discussion.
Yes.
The next one is October 3rd. And it turns out, although nobody told me, the city gets a demerit for not telling me, there is a form on a website for citizen input about the 2026 budget and what new priorities are desired to be. And I was able to get that out overnight to my group, not before they really started meeting yesterday, but certainly before the October 3rd next meeting, final meeting of this budget session. There's no public hearings given on the schedule for the board, and they have scheduled the final meeting of the year to be December 16th, by which time they must have this budget voted. So whatever you want to say about the budget, you need to get on that form. You need to get to your city directors as soon as possible. They are now actively making budget decisions, and it will all be over very quickly. Yes.
I want to thank both our city directors for voting money for our Rose Creek Trail and Park. And
Yes, that's just come through. I saw that on the agenda.
Yes, thank you.
That's a very exciting improvement to the city. So please come back on October the 11th, and we will continue good work for the city. Bring me your issues. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I got 7 dogs to do today.